Guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and more specifically, we're also going to be talking about a bit of price action, a bit of bearish price action that we've seen come out of Bitcoin here over the last 24 hours or so. What we've seen over the last couple of days on Bitcoin is that Bitcoin was in this pseudo-symmetrical triangle pattern here, with this uptrend of support driving Bitcoin up here against this longer-term downtrend of resistance. And that's a very significant downtrend of resistance. In fact, that's the downtrend of resistance that Bitcoin has been under for the entirety of the year of 2018, and getting above that downtrend of resistance would have been very bullish indeed. Now, we were thinking that there is definitely a possibility that we were going to be getting above that downtrend of resistance right now, but I talked about in a previous video about how I didn't think that that was most likely, and I did think that we were going to end up getting a rejection here, and that's exactly what we've seen. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen Bitcoin break this uptrend of support, and I do think that because we've done that, we're going to see Bitcoin move a little bit further south. So in this video, we're going to be talking about this rejection, and we're also going to be talking about where I see Bitcoin going over the next couple of weeks, whether or not Bitcoin can break this long-term descending triangle pattern's downtrend of resistance, and if so, we're going to talk a little bit about what that might look like. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading just a little over $6,350, and that's an interesting price level because that is just above a nice little level of support that Bitcoin has managed to set down here. What we've seen in the last couple of days is that Bitcoin had several wicks come down here and established $6,050 or $6,350 or so as a level of support, and recently we've reconfirmed that with a lot of price action over here. We see a wick right here, a wick right there, some candlesticks right there, and now it looks like we're coming right back down to it at the time being. And that does look like that's going to serve as our level of support here for the short term. We're going to be getting back to the Bitcoin technical analysis, but I want to go ahead and do the crypto market recap because there are some things I want to talk about here on CoinMarketCap. The first thing is this composite price that we see here for Bitcoin. I talked about it in a previous video. You can watch that video on the top right. I talked about in a previous video about how this composite price right here represents the average price of Bitcoin across all cryptocurrency exchanges. Not only does it include Coinbase and Bitfinex, it includes all cryptocurrency exchanges. And when you see this, this is the average price across all crypto exchanges. We see on Coinbase, Bitcoin is trading at $6,371.99 at the moment, but on Bitfinex, we're trading at $6,559.50 because of Tether. Now, that doesn't mean that either one of those prices is necessarily the correct price for Bitcoin. It just means that it's the price of Bitcoin on that exchange. But if we look at what you want to call, in scare quotes, the correct price of Bitcoin, this would actually be it because this is a composite price of all prices. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this has fallen below $6,600 where it was just a couple of days ago. And it is currently sitting down here. If we were to chart this, we would see that Bitcoin is currently sitting down here on its average price. It's sitting right here on this long-term downtrend of resistance. Now, what significance does that carry? Not a whole lot because you can't chart the average price of Bitcoin. But it is important because it looks like the average price of Bitcoin is also going to be coming down below this long-term descending triangle pattern's downtrend of resistance here over the next couple of days. And with that, we also see that Bitcoin's daily price action has, Bitcoin's change over the last 24 hours, I should say. Bitcoin has lost about 1.5% of its valuation, and we see a decent-sized volume day here of around $3.8 billion. Nothing really to write home about there. One thing I want to point out on Ethereum is that Ethereum is currently trading just a little bit over $200. $200 is a very important level of support on Ethereum, and I would like to see it hold. I don't think it's going to hold because of what we're going to be discussing in today's video, though. Something interesting we see here as we scroll down CoinMarketCap is that all 10 of the top 10 cryptocurrencies are all red, except for one that is sticking out like a sore thumb down here. That, of course, being Tether. Tether is the one that is green today, and that's just kind of a screw you to the rest of the market because Tether is the one that got us into this situation in the first place. But it is nice to see that Tether is getting a little bit of its price back, and Tether is starting to move back towards that $1 figure. I talked about in the Tether video. You can watch that video on the top right if you're not watching during the premiere. I talked about in that video how I didn't really think that what we were seeing was the downfall of Tether. I didn't believe all the FUD that Tether was just going to implode on itself. There definitely was a chance, but I didn't think that that was what was most likely, and right now it does seem, for the time being anyway, that Tether is moving back towards $1, which, if we're looking for Tether to not explode, is a good thing, but if we want Tether to die in the long term, maybe not the best thing. But for right now, because of where Bitcoin is, I'm very happy to see that happening. I don't really want Tether to go and explode at the time being with what the market is looking like. Speaking of what the market is looking like, let's go ahead and look at the change over the last 24 hours for the altcoins. As we can see, BAT, Basic Attention Token, is doing very well today. It's up over 13% in the last 24 hours, but that's about all of the good news that we have here. We see that there are not very many cryptocurrencies in the green, maybe about 20 or so, TrueUSD being the smallest gainer down here, and TrueUSD is also still trading above $1, perhaps because of the Tether FUD that we've seen come over the last week or so. But as we scroll down here, we can see that most of the altcoin market is red. We only see one double-digit loser, and that's in fact Ravencoin. Although that's kind of to be expected because as you can see here on the 7-day price graphs, Raven Coin has had a very, very good week. And of course, when you have a very good week like that, a lot of times you're going to see some kind of retracement to follow. And that seems to be what Raven Coin is doing. Raven Coin has definitely had a pretty good week. And we're definitely not surprised to see some kind of retracement following that. Anyway, with the cryptocurrency, with the coin market cap review, crypto market recap review out of the way, I can't speak today. With the crypto market recap review out of the way, let's go ahead and get back into the Bitcoin technical analysis. And let's talk about this little pattern that Bitcoin's formed here. It had this symmetrical triangle pattern. We've already discussed this, and it's pulled back here and is currently sitting just above this level of support. We've already discussed that. But what we haven't discussed is the longer term implications of this movement for Bitcoin, because what we've seen here over the last couple of days is that Bitcoin did Bitcoin did two things. It did one bullish thing and it did one bearish thing. We saw Bitcoin come up here on a wick and break clean through this long-term downtrend of resistance. And remember, that's the downtrend of resistance that Bitcoin has been under for the entire year. That is an extremely important downtrend of resistance, and breaking that would bring a lot, and I do mean a lot, of bearish price action. If we got a proper confirmed breakout of it, that would be very significant. So it's very nice to see that we did get a nice little wick come up here and break that. So that kind of weakens that level of resistance for the future, making it easier to break in the future, which is very good because, of course, we want to break that unless you're shorting at $6,000, in which case I'm sure you'll be happy no matter what happens because you can also long. But the bearish thing that we saw was that Bitcoin did get resistance here at this level, at this downtrend of resistance, and we're now starting to curve back down. I don't really think that's very bad, and I don't really think that's a very big deal, though, to be honest, because like I said in a couple videos ago, I don't recall which video it was. I think I already linked it in the top right, so future me can figure out which video it is. I've already talked about how I didn't think that we were going to get above this, because if we were going to get above it, well, I was thinking that we were probably going to see it happen back over here sometime, like from here back. I also said that there was definitely a good chance that we would break above it. Now, I want to go ahead and address that because I know there are going to be people in the comment section saying I said two things. At first, I said that it looked like we were going to break bullish out of this because of what the Bitfinex chart was doing, but then the Bitfinex chart started turning bearish, and so too did the Coinbase chart, and then I changed and I redecided in the light of new evidence that Bitcoin didn't look like it was going to break that downtrend of resistance, and that's where I currently stand. I think what's probably going to happen here is that Bitcoin is likely going to break this level of support at $6,360. If we broke this uptrend of support, I'm not really convinced that this is going to hold. Look, guys, it's very possible that Bitcoin comes down to where it is now and then goes up and breaks this downtrend of resistance. I'm not totally convinced that that's what's most likely, though. What I think is probably going to happen is that Bitcoin is probably going to come down here and retest this uptrend of support that we've talked about in so many videos. And guys, that's an important uptrend of support. We want to hold that because that represents the trend that Bitcoin has been setting over the last 3 months of making consecutive higher lows. I've talked about that many times, and this is a very important uptrend that we do want to see Bitcoin hold. So what I'd like to see Bitcoin do, honestly, my ideal scenario for Bitcoin is not really breaking out right now because I don't know that that would be sustained. I don't know that that would last. What I'd like to see Bitcoin do is come down here and test this level of support and then get a much stronger bounce and then break out. I'm very happy to see that happen, and that would also see Bitcoin come down here and reconfirm for a fourth time this uptrend of support, which is very important, and I would like to see this uptrend of support hold indefinitely. Actually, there's no real reason that we ever need to go back below it. With that said, if Bitcoin does go below it, of course, we have $6,000 down here to prop us up. But either way, I think we're going to bounce off of one of these levels of support and end up getting through this downtrend of resistance here over the next couple of days. So let me go ahead and talk about why I think we're going to be breaking this level of support right here. If we come out to Heikin-Ashi and we go out to the daily chart, what we're going to see is that Heikin-Ashi has just turned red here in the most recent candlestick here on the 19th of October's candlestick. And typically when Heikin-Ashi changes color, we talk about this in a lot of videos, and we talk about this in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, link in the description. We talk about when Heikin-Ashi changes colors, typically, especially if you're in a cycle of uptrends and downtrends, typically that means that you're going to see some kind of continuation. Very rarely will you see what happened right here, where you see Heikin-Ashi change color for one day and then it changes back to what it was already, what the color already was. If we zoom out here to the earlier part of the year when Bitcoin was very clearly in uptrends and downtrends, you see this very, very clearly, where Bitcoin had changes in color right there, for example, changes in color right there, for example, right here, right there. And typically when you see a change in color, that is rather significant. And I don't think, based on what we've talked about in today's video and in previous videos, that Bitcoin is necessarily going to hold this level of support at $6,350 or so. I think what's most likely is it will pull back and then break out in the future. Now, one thing I also want to talk about is that MACD here on the daily chart did just cross bullish. It did just cross bullish, and typically when the MACD crosses bullish, that usually signals that we're going to see some kind of follow through. But based on everything we've already talked about, and based on the more bearish sentiment that we've seen, I don't know that this is going to hold. I think MACD is probably going to have a little bit of a fake out here, and what we're going to see is the signal line continue over here, something like this, and then we're going to see the MACD line curve just a little bit below it as they both start moving back up here towards the zero level on the histogram. I think that's what's most likely, guys. I do think that Bitcoin is going to be breaking this long-term downtrend of resistance. Like I've said for many, many videos for a long time, I do think it's most likely that we're going to be breaking bullish out of this descending triangle pattern. I don't think we're going to break $6,000, and I do think Bitcoin is going to be, at worst, entering a new accumulation phase over the next couple of months, and at best, entering a new bull market over the next couple of months. Tell me in the comment section down below what you think of that conclusion. Do you guys believe that Bitcoin is destined to enter a new bull market over the next 3 to 4 or 5 months? I think if it's going to come, I do think it'll be coming by the end of February, and I do think that next bull market will have a major, major run. If you guys are interested in my opinions on what the next bull market will look like, we just did a video on that yesterday. But also tell me in the comment section down below if you guys think that we're going to end up breaking below $6,000 and heading further south. I'm always interested to hear your opinions in the comment section and also in the Discord server. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and join the Discord server. And if you're watching this during the premiere, thank you. Hi. You can probably see me typing over in the chat right now. If you guys are watching this video as a replay, then there's a little button up here, it's like right over here. If you zoom out on YouTube, and you can see the live chat for what was happening during the premiere. I think that was a pretty cool feature. We had that happen yesterday, and I think I'm going to continue doing that for videos. Actually, if you're already watching this video, click in the link in the top right, the little I button in the top right, and click the poll. Do you guys want me to do premieres on all future videos, or should I just keep it as it was? I very much enjoyed watching the video live with about 300 people, even if it was a little awkward listening to myself talk to myself with 300 friends. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.